That's not the button I want to push. I'm a Mac person. A couple of keys. Oh, I'm sorry. My friend of mine passed away 5 years ago. Just September 2nd. This year was the first year in the government.
All right, good evening, everybody. Oh, goodness, that's loud. I'm going to call the meeting to order this evening at 6:34 p.m., beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. I'm hoping that with this close, you'll be able to hear me, but if anyone can't understand or hear me, let me know. Just trying not to spread the germs tonight. Okay, we're going to start our meeting with some happy thoughts. Each month, the board has made an effort to recognize those students, faculty, staff whose contributions or achievements are outstanding, employees who go above the call of duty, community members whose generosity is greatly appreciated. So this month, the board would like to recognize and thank our entire DCS teaching staff and our administrative staff, our principals and other administrators for putting on some very nice, very welcoming open houses over the last couple of weeks. So we thank you very much for that. I know it's a lot of work and it's a lot of extra time where you're not going home to your families. So we appreciate that you stayed to meet ours. Also would like to recognize, you may have seen it on our Facebook post, but we have a number of students that have been recognized by the College Board. So I will read them. All of them have received the Rural and Small Town Award. And then if there are others, I will mention those as well. So we have Maura, those that received the Rural and Small Town Awards are Maura O'Donnell, Haley Rose, Becca Wright, Matthew Newvine, Joey Harris, Morgan Kraus, Brooke Grenier, and Grace DeAngelis. And then we had two of those recipients, Becca Wright and Morgan Kraus, who also received first generation awards from the College Board. All of those students are seniors with the exception of Grace DeAngelis, but we are thrilled that they were recognized in this way and congratulate them on their accomplishments. I would also like to say that today is Miss A's birthday, so happy birthday, Tony. And unfortunately, we also have to acknowledge with tremendous sadness and grief the very unexpected passing of one of our staff members at Duanesburg Elementary School, Mrs. Roberta Hillenbrand. Mrs. Hillenbrand worked at the district for 26 years as a teacher's aide, impacting countless lives. She initially worked at our high school with students before transitioning to the elementary school many years ago, where she spent the latter part of her career. And most recently, she's been a third grade aide. So we know that she will be missed by students and staff and colleagues and by us. So if you will just join us in noting that and sending your thoughts to her family. Okay. All right, next, do we have any questions or discussion of this evening's agenda from anybody on the board? Okay, then we will start with approval of the agenda. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the agenda for the regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Lissa. Comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving to public comment. Celeste, do we have anybody signed up? Okay, we are going to skip right over that then. Next item, Board of Education minutes. Resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the regular meeting on September 10th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Sarah. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ray. Comments or questions on the meeting minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, and our next item is an administrator update about building positive student culture, and Ms. Ross is going to speak really quickly before we bring up our speakers.
Okay, so we have Miss Kendra Shadina and Ms. Dana Kamer, if you want to come up. So, woo, I hate this thing. All right, so I had asked, well, let me back up a little bit. Back in February, meeting the Board of Education and being appointed to the position as your new superintendent, one of the things that clearly rose to the top with surveying the community and the board was tackling not just bullying behavior, but students who are just not kind to each other. So we all know and understand that we follow the guidelines under DASA for Dignity for All Students Act and what bullying, the definition of bullying is. But moreover, that we see is kids just being cruel to each other. It may not fall in that neat little bucket of DASA, but we recognize as adults, and kids recognize, and parents recognize, that kids sometimes are just very cruel to each other. And sometimes it's passive-aggressive cruelty, right? It could be looking at another student and saying a passive-aggressive remark about their clothing or their shoes or anything that would be hurtful. So with the starting of the school year, I had employed Kendra and Dana with their idea of how do we shift this culture with our students. And it's really, really critical after my 25 plus years in a school district that if anything is top down, if the adults say this is what we're doing, there's no buy-in from the students. And that we really need these two fabulous educators to lead the charge, lead the students to build a caring culture, a positive culture. And not just saying anti-bullying, because I think it's more predominant that it's just cruel behavior than it is necessarily that technical or legal term of bullying. So a few weeks ago, I met with Kendra and Dana and said, hey, I really would like you to lead the charge in this, present to the board, because I know the board is committed to this process, and with a multi-year timeline of how we're going to tackle this to foster and create a positive culture within our students. So take it away. Oh, no, it's great.
There we are. Thank you. So we're calling this Building the Nest because fostering that Eagle Pride, a shift that we had a couple years. See, I guess I do get my walking mic after all. So that was my joke with Declan. So inappropriate behavior obviously is the number one here with like 67 last year, 73 the year before. That is really vague. Inappropriate behavior can be anything from some of those bullying comments, but also can be inappropriate like uh, in the hallway, in the classroom. Inappropriate language can also kind of tag in. So sometimes that behavior incorporates language, sometimes it's segregated. So that's why you see, well, inappropriate language is a little bit less. Well, that's probably because some of the actions also went into that inappropriate behavior piece. We also pointed out the disrespectful behavior, so that can, again, it sometimes gets incorporated with the inappropriate behavior. So altogether, it's a staggering number over the past 2 years. We also looked at our DASA complaints. So in the high school, 2 years ago, we had 12 DASA formal complaints. Only 7 were founded, and last year we had 5 and only 3 were founded. But again, we fully are aware that there might be issues that are happening and they don't come to Ms. Kamer and formally do those complaints. So that was our stepping stone. With this, in our hope, everything that we're doing, we're gonna be able to get more positive feedback from students. So at the end of all of this, students will be able to identify strategies that they've used or even seen used in conflicts that they're having. So that way, okay, we're not just letting it pass by. Students are also intervening themselves. We will have student stakeholder sessions as well. So Ms. Ross will have a group of students that will have a baseline feedback about how they're, like what they're seeing in the school, what they are seeing as challenges. And at the end of the school year, those students will meet again, and we're hoping to see that positive change in what they are saying about what they're noticing. In terms of this also, we have staff feedback back, so we think it's really important too to gauge our staff members. Are they able to identify strategies that they've used to intervene and also help mitigate some of these conflicts and bullying? We are hoping to also actively engage this greater community because we realize it's not just teachers, staff members that are in part of this conversation. This is a whole community effort, and we really want to make sure that our efforts are being communicated clearly and everything's transparent, and community members can also offer us that feedback as well.
All right. So this is our plan that we've come up with. And again, it's flexible. We're putting ideas together. And this is what we have come up with. For marking period 1, we will start off with the DASA certification and continued trainings. The Capital Region BOCES every year has coordinator trainings, and they're designed to provide Dignity Act coordinators with research-based intervention strategies for faculty, staff, and students. And it's an opportunity to collaborate and review reporting procedures with other Dignity Act coordinators. So Kendra and I will be participating in that this year. We are creating a Google site with resources for families and a streamlined form. We will make the DASA reporting form on the website more user-friendly, so it would be a fillable form, and then it will be sent directly to the coordinator. We plan on doing DASA presentations for 7th through 12th grade students, push-ins at all the grade levels. Like we just talked about, our success criteria, we're looking for October 23rd to do a DASA community forum where we'll be providing information about DASA and hearing from our families. And then conference day, which is coming up on October 25th, we're looking for teacher feedback about what they see, what they observe, and be a time for reteaching everything to the staff and surrounding bullying and what to look for. Mark in period 2, continued with conference days. This will be then explicit teaching of the anti-bullying efforts for the teachers. We're also looking at making brochures to distribute to the staff members to support students, ways that they can respond if they see or they hear bullying, type of dialogue that they can use with and to address the students. So we thought that would be helpful. We'll be doing more character ed push-in classes
for middle school and high school. Middle school to target all the 7th and 8th graders will go into their middle school success and tech literacy. And then for the high school, we'll go into their English and participation in government. So to make sure that we're getting all of our students connected. We're also planning on doing morning and news announcements, spreading awareness through morning news segments regarding bullying and all that. World Kindness Day was something that we actually did last year. That was a really nice thing. We have student-driven groups like our youth leadership group last year. We came up with some activities to promote kindness and make nice signs and notes, really just to emphasize this day. And then marking period 3, we're looking at progress checks, mini surveys to give it out to the students, to gauge the effectiveness of what we've been doing, marking period 1 and marking period 2. We're looking at a National Guard visit where they will come in and do resilience and leadership workshops with about 30 to 50 students at a time, and then it'll be broken up into different grade levels. Another initiative is Respect for All Week in February. Again, another recognition where we can highlight our efforts as a school, being respectful. We will be collaborating with student council because at this point we're going to be looking to turn it over to students. We want this collaboration to be student-led. We want to hear from them. We want them to be engaged. We want them to be a part of the initiatives that we'll be setting up around the school. And then marking period 4, students will complete the end surveys to assess what they've applied. We'll reach out to the staff to get their feedback. We'll be doing some end of the year celebrations. We'll be recognizing character traits for students. We'll be looking at data review, creating an action plan for the next school year. And then again, this is a recap of the stakeholder group where our advisory team can start choosing a program for next year. Again, we want this to be student driven. We want students to have a say in future programs.
So, and one of the things that they will be looking for year 2 is more of a system in place. Right now, what Dana and I are pulling through, we are pulling some themes that we think are the biggest issues that students might not have that direct knowledge of. So team building, collaboration, community building obviously is a huge one, right? Because Eagle Pride, we gotta be all in this together. And sometimes that gets lost, right? So we wanna make sure that students also have conflict resolution types of training because, yes, we adults are here to help resolve conflict, but helping them be able to learn and recognize, well, how can I solve that myself? Cyberbullying is obviously a really big one. I think that's a huge issue across the board, and having students recognize proper technology use, which is another reason why that collaboration is a huge one with their teachers, and also just advocacy and awareness for others. Now, these are all themes that we are pulling from research-based, so these aren't things that we're just, hey, we think that these are good techniques to use. We are pulling from a lot of sources like Project Here. That's one of the parts with the National Guard. Those are research-based strategies as well, so we are trying to pull from the experts there. But the hope is that that stakeholder group, like student council, Dana's youth leadership group, will really help spearhead that come marking period 3. For year 2, now I know this was mostly on the high school, but we know that the elementary school has some struggles as well. So the hope is that once we get through this first year, we'll be ready to implement a program for the elementary school as well. So that collaboration piece didn't start this from the get-go because that involves some collaboration with the elementary folks down there. So the hope is by year 2, we'll be able to be ready and implement it. Again, this is flexible, so if we can try to wiggle that in, that would be even better. And again, we'll have that student selected program for the high school ready to go as well for year 2. Also for year 2, all staff members are gonna be trained in crisis intervention. We'll also have restorative practice training for Dana and myself, so that will help too as we start really building our capacity at the staff level. Again, right, this is all about eagle pride in our nest. It's about inclusion, about belonging. It's that Eagle pride. It's nothing new. It's just about building on what we've already been doing. So thank you. And if there's questions.
First of all, thank you for doing this. I think just a few thoughts that I have as you were going through the whole presentation is, the three isn't many, but three is three too many, in my opinion. So I'm glad that we're right. Three founded DASA reports. Whether they're founded or not, obviously there were really challenging issues happening at school, and so I'm glad that we're moving in that direction. And I really like the idea of focusing less on DASA, because I can say, at least in my professional experience, most kids think that's a funny thing to say.
It's like PBIS,
Yeah,
right?
they don't
PBIS,
take it
DASA.
seriously, right? It's like, oh yeah, they're going to DASA me, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, right? So if we can sort of shift away from that and really focus on building culture, I think that's a really great thing. And then I think I know what you're talking about, but for everybody else, when you say student-run programming, are you talking about something like No Place for Hate, those kinds of things?
So
Maybe you could speak to that.
Yeah, so that's one of the options. So we were looking, like there's the Boomerang Project, which really focuses on that mentoring piece, No Place for Hate. There's a lot of different options, but we want to make sure that it's something that the students actually want and will be able to implement themselves, because we can pick something and then they can make fun of it later, right? But if it's something they pick and they have an invested interest in, then there's going to be some buy-in. So that's the goal. You're smiling with your eyes.
We know Second Step also for the elementary school is Second is a very well-run program. So yeah, we want the students to, be driven by this as well. I think it'll just help all together. Thank you.
Other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, we'll update soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we now? Here I am. Here I go. Next up, we have the superintendent's report.
All right, first, thanks Kendra and Dana. Well done. So we realize this is a multi-year plan and that we want to get it started at the secondary level and then ripple it down to the elementary level. There are components of PBIS at the elementary level. Dana mentioned Second Steps, which is really, I've used it in 2 of my districts. It's character ed training. And then at the middle school level, Dana, it turns into more of a like exercise workshop kind of thing for like the middle level, right? She's shaking her head. So just want to echo, we want to make this student driven. So we're going to give them options through my student advisory team and or student council. And have them decide what they think is going to be most impactful. So thank you guys. We're excited for this to happen. It's going to take time. It's going to probably, for full implementation, it'll probably take a good 3 years. But we're going to start small, hopefully get some kids buy-in, and these fabulous educators lead the way. All right, so as for superintendent's report, obviously today was a tough day. I know that meeting with staff, we like to extend our condolences to George and Erica. Erica was a DCS grad. Our staff has been amazing. The crisis team met today to make sure that we are thoughtful about how we can support not just our students, but our staff, because she was a friend and a colleague. And so I'm proud of the crisis team and coming together and trying to hold it together so that we could be strong for our colleagues. And tomorrow's going to be a hard day as well. But together, we're one team and we're one family, and we'll get through this together. So pretty proud of how our folks are rallying around each other. Really quick accountability update. I went to the New York State Council of School Superintendents workshop last week. Was it last week? It feels like a blur. New accountability measures are going to be coming out late fall, early winter. They have a draft plan to the federal government, and once that's accepted, then they'll release more clear data. But they're restarting the process of how they measure districts, and so there's some really great things that they're proposing to the government that I think will really highlight all the great things that happen here at Duanesburg. We've been working on our substitute campaign. You're going to see we have 4 names on the agenda tonight, ranging from cafeteria to aides to teachers. So it's a rolling campaign. I think next week, Celeste, I have a few more interviews, right? Yeah, a few more next week. The campaign will allow us to obviously support fingerprinting and any mandated trainings that they have to have, and then we can build our pool so we're not tapping into the current educators we have to step out of the classroom. So in my last district, I think it took a good solid year before we had a nice list of subs. So if you know anyone looking to sub in the district, we welcome anyone, and that from cafeteria to being a bus aide to recess to the classroom, depending on what their fit, we would take a half a day or a full week, whatever anybody's interested in doing. So that will continue for the year. The campaign. Go ahead.
There are no like age restrictions. You have to just be 18, right?
Right,
Not-
18.
Yep.
And so we did have someone who was younger, not a recent graduate. So we, as she gets older and she gets her feet underneath her, we're going to have her at the elementary school. So usually the benchmark is like 21 and over for at the secondary level. And then, we always welcome anyone who's interested. Folks are going to find out that anyone who's a mandated reporter, the state has come out, regardless of when you had your mandated reporter training, everyone has to do it over again by April 1st. So it is the best resource we found is a 2-hour online course. And for anyone who's a certified teacher or a license, so like OT, PT, or a certification teaching assistant, they have to take this. If they don't, they could jeopardize their certification. There's new components that the state. So we'll walk staff through this probably in our October 25th staff day. I'm going to complete it myself so that I can honestly say, like, this is what you need to do, because the staff have to self-report to 2 different agencies for their certification to remain active. You're going to see on the agenda, we are welcoming Carol Hart. She is going to be joining us at October 21st as a .4 ENL teacher. She is a gem and has a rich history working with students as English new language. I'm very excited for her to be joining us. I would like to thank Rochelle Slingerland and Kathy Chuba for their many years of service to the district. We're going to miss them as you see their resignation. And I just really want to kick it to Danielle for a quick second, because as you know, we have our dear Laurel, who is moving on to a new adventure. As part of the crisis team, we are reminded today of the professional that she is and how valuable she has been to this district, and we do wish her well, but I asked Danielle just to say a few words.
You're switching it up on me now? Oh my goodness. All right, everyone can hear me okay? Oh my. I need to be a little taller though. Good evening, board. So I wanted to take a moment to recognize Laurel Hallberg for her dedication and years of services she has provided to our district. After 16 years of serving this Waynesburg school community, she has chosen to pursue a path that will challenge her to grow and to serve others. I want to thank Mrs. Hallberg for all that she has done for our school community, our students, and their families. I'd like to wish Mrs. Hallberg good luck on her next adventure. Thank you.
So, like I said, we're reminded with days like today how Laurel has been such a pivotal partner in all our lives. But again, we are sad to say goodbye to Rochelle and Kathy. We wish them well in their journey, and we welcome Carol. The last thing, I will email it to the board. I meant to put it on the agenda, I forgot. So our ECA advisors and students are going to be presenting every month to the Board of Education. I know some of the adults are a little nervous. I said, we really don't care about the adults. We want the kids here. We want, that's it, as they shake their head. We just want the kids here. We want them to demonstrate to the board, or show the board all the great things happening, and to highlight what a special place Waynesburg really is. So I will make sure that I get that out to the board via email, and then we'll put it on informational in November. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ross. Next, that wasn't me, was it, Declan? Okay. All right, next we have the Assistant Superintendent of Management Services, Mr. Rivenberg.
So this week, any of you that have been by the elementary school, you'll have noticed that the playground is being constructed. More parts were actually delivered. Pieces of equipment were delivered today. One of the trucks was delayed because of the hurricane in the middle of the states there, and so but they have plenty to do here for the next few weeks to get the playground going. So as long as the weather stays as good as it's been, this playground should be done in a good amount of time. So the kids will hopefully be able to play on that before the snow flies. So they're all looking forward to it, I'm sure, as they come in every morning. So and then you'll also notice that I had loaded the reserve fund report, and I will note that the only thing different from the reserve fund this year is that we had just put a little bit into the new capital reserve fund that was started, that was approved at the budget vote in May, while some of the original capital reserve fund is being used for the Centennial project. So you'll see that dwindle down to near nothing by the end of this year. So, and that's it.
I see they've started work on the roofs here at the high school, which you've told us they would.
Yeah.
Have they discovered anything in the past couple days that have made them regret those choices?
So the work, they've basically just staged and put the railings up, safety and all that. So they are getting ready. I think they're waiting for a couple more things, but that should be well on the way by the end of this week. And they plan to actually have some workers up there potentially even tomorrow. So, but that, those biggest areas right over the gymnasium and the library area will be what they're focusing on right now. So
Actually, Anand was so excited. He figured out the mystery with the elementary building.
yeah,
He had to take video because he was just so, because it has been escaping him for how long, that a couple of years that he figured out what was going on. And don't ask me because I don't know construction, but he's tickled pink, and they actually started repairing it. And I noticed today there was no odor in the elementary office at all. So I think it's success. He figured it out. Yay!
yeah.
Thanks, Anand.
Yes, I have a question. Looking at the spreadsheet from the end of year report, 2023, looks like we have $18,600,000 of the total budget at 42.83%. And there's a difference of 395,000 at 35.72%. How do I interpret this? I'm not quite sure. It's on your report. And
What page are you on, Ray?
I'm sorry, the very first page.
Okay.
So you're looking at the total budget.
Yeah.
So that's just a comparison of the total budget. So that's what the 23-24 school year budget was. It's 18,985,000. And then so above that, you'll see that the total amount in reserve. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I really, I'm learning. I
Sure.
really, I wasn't sure how to read this.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what that difference of $395,000 was. Or, yeah.
300. I'm not even sure where he's.
From 6/30/23 to 6/30/24.
Oh, so that's because of it's showing the percentage of the budget.
Okay.
So it's the
42.83.
percentage of reserves to budget is actually less because we are spending down our reserves.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Move on to our financial items. For those students here reporting for your government class, this is the most exciting part of the meeting, so get ready to take notes. All right, accept financial reports. Resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the following financial reports as submitted. Treasurer's report, appropriation status, budget transfer, revenue status reports ending 8/31/24, general capital and ECA warrants dated 9/10/24, and the general and ECA warrants dated 9/24/24. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Comments or questions? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item, approved disposal of obsolete transportation vehicle. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the Board of Education approve surplus of the following obsolete transportation vehicle and authorizes the Assistant Superintendent of Management Services to determine best interest of the district, either to trade in or auction. Bus 153, 2016 Bluebird propane fuel. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Oh, thank you, Tony. A second from Lissa. Thank you. Comments or questions? I'll just comment, this is pretty typical, right, Jeff? We're on a 10-year rotation or 10-year replenishment sort
It
of
is.
plan, right?
Absolutely. So you'll notice that, yes, this bus is actually a 2016. However, the rust that's showing in this bus and the mileage leads us to this bus needs to go because it's not going to pass DOT inspections in the future. And we actually have an older bus that I think it's a 2015 bus that's actually in better shape than this one. And it just, just depends on how they fare the weather.
Absolutely. And we don't want our kids on the bus that's not going to pass
Right.
inspections.
No, yeah.
They
All
got
right.
93,000 miles.
Yeah.
That's nothing to snuff.
Yeah, it's a lot. All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item, approve contracts and agreements for 2024-2025 school year. Resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the listed contracts and agreements between Dwaynesburg Central School District and listed parties for the 2024-2025 school year. These contracts and agreements shall not be binding on the parties until authorized and signed by each party's respective representatives. We have, as listed, Rose Bridge Speech Therapy, SUNY Plattsburgh, Schenectady County Sheriff's Office, and Cobleskill Richmondville Central School District. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Sarah. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. Comments or questions? Can you talk about the Schenectady County Sheriff's Office, please? That's exciting.
I probably should have put it in my superintendent's report. I'm sorry. My brain is, am I on, off? Now I'm on. So we are incredibly grateful to the sheriff's office. They are going to provide for us this school year a second SRO free of charge. So Jeff and I met with the sheriff, the undersheriff, the lieutenant. There was a lot of people there, some legislators, and they realized that being a rural community, that it's really important to make sure that both buildings have a presence, because if there was a true emergency, it would take them longer to get here. So we are incredibly grateful for their partnership. The second SRO is out on medical leave right now, but he's going to come back in, I think, late October, early November. And we will introduce him to the community once he's I think he had surgery. So once he's ready to come meet the community, we'll make sure that we do it properly. So a huge thank you to the Schenectady County Sheriff's Department and Sheriff D'Agostino, right? D'Agostino. Okay. Yes.
Thank you,
you.
Kim. Yes. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, last financial item, audited financial statement report ending 6/30/2024. Resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education accepts the audited financial statement report dated 6/30/2024 as submitted. May I have a motion?
I'll motion. Sorry.
Francis, a second to Lissa? Okay.
Yes, that's what we just did.
All right. Comments or questions? I'll just comment that we met as an audit committee of the whole prior to this meeting and had a very nice, if not cough-filled presentation from our auditor. I wrote down some things. I will just say that he said, hold on, let me find my notes here, that we have a really good business office. I wrote that down. And that there are no issues and that we are in excellent shape financially. So I was quite pleased to see that. Any other comments or questions?
Which one do you want my copy?
Yeah. You guys want to read it? It's going to be posted.
Great.
Everybody can read
It's really
it.
exciting.
It's riveting reading. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Personnel items. First item, approve MOA between the district and administrator unit. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approve the Duanesburg Administrators Association MOA and authorizes the payment contained therein as per the attached agreement. May I have a motion? Thank you, Ray. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Comments or questions? In case you want to know, MOA stands for Memorandum of Agreement. So just putting the agreement in place.
I'd just like to say that our principals are great,
Yes.
and I'm glad that we can
Thank
work
you.
with them to keep
And
them here.
Danielle.
And Danielle. Our administrators are great.
Our administrators. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your patience in putting this together, and we'll
Absolutely.
come back to the table again soon. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Similar, approve MOA between the district and teachers unit. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education hereby approve the Duanesburg Teachers Association MOA and authorizes the payment contained therein as per the attached agreement. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Oh,
Good.
Ray. A second, Francis?
Sure.
All right. Comments or questions? Again, extending our thanks and gratitude for working together with the district to put this together. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Next personnel item, amend resignation effective date. Resolved based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the amended resignation date of Isabel Kalin to be September 27th from September 24th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Tony. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions? We get her for 3 more days?
Well, just the way
Yeah.
the new
Yeah.
person started.
The weekend.
Yeah. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Well, she started, right? Too? Ms. Rambo started.
Yes,
Yeah,
so we
excellent.
were lucky enough to have one-day transition with Miss Rambo and Miss Kalin. So she got to meet the kids and, you know, just it was a really positive experience for everyone.
I could say I met her at
Open house?
open house, and it was so cool having a future teacher here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's very, very excited to be here.
She also had a brochure, which is very
Yes.
cool. I took all the brochures. She had her own brochure. All right, next item, accept resignations. Recommendation that the Board of Education accept the resignations as listed below. I don't have to read them all, right, Celeste? Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Oh my goodness, now everyone wants to motion. All right, Lissa. A second, Sarah?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Nothing for Ray.
Comments or questions on this? I'll just say for those that we're saying goodbye to permanently, we appreciate their time here at the district. Some of the others are just moving around and taking on different duties. So, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh my, okay, I'm not going to read all these either. Approve non-instructional appointments. Resolved based on the recommendation of the superintendent. The Board of Education approved the submitted list of non-instructional appointments. ECA appointments are for the applicable 2024-2025 school year and sports season, beginning with preseason practice and ending at the conclusion of the season, including sectional play. All appointments are employees at will, and the appointment at this time does not guarantee employment for the entire school, season, term, or year. Those appointments are as listed. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Tony. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. Comments or questions? Yay, substitutes.
Yeah.
That's my comment.
I see we don't have a new bowling coach. Is that in process or?
Yeah,
has that
so
been-
there is, Mr. Hopkins, I know he resigned, but there's somebody who said they're interested in it. And so on the November meeting, that you should have who the new bowling coach is going to be.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Speaking in code.
It's in the works.
We can't appoint two, so one had to resign and
Yeah,
one
and then
has
we'll
to
do the
put in.
next.
So.
Gotcha. Any other questions? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstentions.
Thank you.
The
Thank
third
you.
one.
Thank you. That other one. All right. Next item, approve reassignment. Resolved that based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the Board of Education approve the reassignment of Thomas Gordon from school transportation supervisor to head automotive mechanic, effective October 1st, 2024. The salary will be as listed and prorated for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Tony. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Sarah. Comments or questions? Only that we're glad that Tom is sticking around and
Yes.
That we can provide him a
And
different
I
opportunity.
have to thank Jeff and Tammy and Tina for, we're thrilled that Tom is staying and that kind of a minor restructure of roles and responsibilities at the bus garage. We're going to try and move forward without hiring a trans supervisor. I think Tammy and Tina, with Jeff's oversight, I think it's going to be great. They've got a nice groove, and Tammy and Tina are stepping up and willing to take on the responsibilities. So we're really grateful for them as well.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item, instructional approve appointment C. Hart. Resolved, based upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approved the appointment of Carol Hart as a probationary .4 ENL teacher starting October 21st, 2024 at step 16 of the DTA contract at a salary as listed, prorated for the 2024-2025 school year. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second? Thank you, Lissa. Comments or questions? Welcome, Ms. Hart.
Welcome.
Thank you. How many students did we have come in this year,
We
Ms. Ross?
had two students come in.
Mhm.
I've been asking surrounding districts if they'd like to, have her for a day or two.
Mhm.
It is very rare to get a .4 ENL teacher. Very, very rare, because most teachers want full-time. But she was interested in it because she has some family obligations. And I've worked with Carol because she used to work for BOCES. She was a BOCES ENL teacher. So it should be noted that if you need an ENL teacher through BOCES, it's a service that's not aidable. They don't decide that, the state does. It's not an aidable service. And it is their most expensive service they have. So a full-time ENL teacher through BOCES is $175,000. So to have Carol come, be willing to do .4, if Skahari or Shama or anyone needs her, she would entertain that if she wanted more time, and to accept a salary, obviously a prorated salary. So we're really grateful.
Great. Any other comments or questions? All right, well, welcome to
Thank
Ms. Hart. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, next item, approve leave of absence. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, the Board of Education approve the leave of absence of employee number 1892, effective September 1st through October 8th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. I would just like to ask that in the future, maybe the number, can we have an executive content who the person is?
Yes.
Okay, because it isn't. Or maybe it's just me.
Yeah. It's not.
Okay.
I
But
was going to say, can we have an idea of where, are we going to have any holes?
Yeah, so I can provide that in executive content so that you guys
Okay.
can see who it is. And so
Yeah.
there's really guardrails around saying for leave of
Right.
absence for confidentiality, but that's my mistake. And what I can do is at our next, Celeste, remind me, we'll put it in executive content, just filling you in. I don't want to send it in our confidential weekly update because you just never know. So
Yeah.
just maintaining that privacy for our staff. So that's on me. I should have included it. So.
All in favor?
all right.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions?
Actually, you know what, I could probably go in, Celeste, we can go in and put it in executive content on this agenda, so,
Okay,
you know, tomorrow, you can take a peek tomorrow.
perfect.
And if you have any questions, let us know.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, no, I skipped one. All right, next item, recommendation. Recommended action of pupil services, CSE and CPSE, accept the minutes. Recommendation that the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the CSE meeting and their minutes from the September 13th, 19th, 20, and 23rd, 2024 meetings as submitted. Do I have a motion?
All motion?
Thank you, Sarah. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Comments or questions? It's a light month, Danielle.
What have you been doing?
I know, yeah. Have you been napping or like what are you
What's
doing
the
over there? There are some very busy times for CSE, so I'm glad it was a light month. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. There it is. Yes, we have it for this one, so perfect. We'll just, yes, that's okay. All right, next item. This is information. We don't have to do anything. Just an acknowledgement of family medical leave absence for an employee from September 20th to November 7th. We also have, for anyone's interest and reading pleasure, the college and the high school memorandum of understanding, effective September 1st, 24 through August 31st, 2025. That allows us to have university in the high school, right? College in the high school courses offered. And then,
Take those.
say again?
I told the kids to take those.
Yes, take those. And then last piece of information.
The
Oh,
action.
all right.
Says
So,
information, but
it
it
does
should be
say,
action.
but it,
It should
okay.
say action.
Okay. All right. Okay, then, next item. Approve revised Board of Education meeting calendar. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent and the Board of Education hereby approves the revised board meeting schedule. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Francis. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony. Comments or questions?
What changed?
It just says right here.
The June
June
10th should be June 3rd.
Oh, okay.
And we also dropped the board meeting after,
Meet the candidates night.
candidates.
Yep.
Meet the
Thank you.
candidates is still on. It's
Correct.
just
We
not-
just
Right.
don't have a meeting.
There's no
We don't have
board
a
meeting.
That was
meeting.
my poorly
Yeah.
worded question earlier.
Yeah. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Last item is a need for executive session. I don't think I need an executive session. Does anyone else have a burning desire to hang out here for another hour? No. Okay. So we do not need an executive session, which means our next item is to adjourn the meeting. I would like to adjourn the meeting at 7:25. Look at that, guys. Less than an hour tonight. Wow. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Ray. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tony.
Happy birthday.
All in favor?
Tony.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
You guys picked a good night to have to come do this because
It's short.
it's one of our shorter ones.
Last time there was cookies.
I know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You missed the cookies.
All right, we'll go home and have your cake or dinner or whatever's waiting for you.
Yes. No, we're doing Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Pictures, family pictures and dinner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to cook.
Oh, I probably will cook.